Hi again, welcome back on Nusika. So today let's make Yakhani Polau. This is definitely going to be a go-to recipe when you're planning on entertaining. It's quite pleasing to the eyes. So let's get started. It's got a whole lot of spices and all of the details will be in the description box below. And just to make your job easy, we are not going to chop the onion and the ginger and garlic. I'm going to use them whole into the broth. So we are going to make the pulao out of the broth. I'm using an entire chicken. I'm not chopping them up, but it's totally up to you. If you want to have small pieces of chicken, you can of course use them, but the whole chicken actually brings out the best presentation. I'm soaking up around 4 to 5 cups of Basmati rice, and I rinsed it once, and I'm soaking it in warm water for about 2 hours. Make sure to soak in warm water. It's going to bring a whole lot of a different texture when your pulao is done. I'm going to tie these chicken legs and the chicken wings using a kitchen twine so they look a little easy for me to handle in the pan when I'm roasting them. I'm using an entire ginger and garlic, and I have a large heavy bottom pan, or you can take a large pot as well, whatever is convenient for you to work with, because we're going to turn the chicken until the skin is golden brown. I used about a tablespoon of ghee to a tablespoon of oil. I used sunflower oil today. I'm going to roast the chicken in the oil once the oil is nice and hot, but make sure it's not too hot because the oil might splatter everywhere. So be careful when you do this. So once the chicken has built its golden color, I'm going to turn it on both the sides of the chicken until it is nice and golden. I'm not looking to crisp up the skin at this point. We're just going to build or enhance the flavor of a broth. This is going to definitely help the broth taste so much better because the browning of the chicken brings a better flavor in your broth. I'm adding an entire onion, and I just roughly crushed the ginger and the garlic. I didn't even remove the skin of them. And I'm using about a gallon of water, and we are going to reduce it to half of it so we have a nice flavorful broth for our pulao. Add salt to taste and half a teaspoon of crushed pepper. If you like a little heat, you may add more of it. But all of the ingredients and the description, do check it out. And once the water has reduced, make sure to remove the chicken separately and then strain the broth. And we're going to save this broth and use this for our pulao. Meanwhile, let's get started making the base for the rice. I have an entire red onion, one small to medium tomato, cilantro and mint, and some dry spices, cloves, cinnamon, bay stick, bay leaves, one, and coriander and cumin. Everything that we added to the broth, but in a very less quantity. So we're going to I'm going to chop the onions, slice them thin. So in the pan, I added about 2 tablespoons of ghee to 2 tablespoons of oil. You may add more oil or just completely cook it in ghee. So once the oil is heated up, we'll add the dry spices and then add the chopped onions until they're golden brown. Make sure not to burn the onions. At this point, I added the tomatoes, red chili powder, some turmeric, and some salt to taste, and 1 to 2 tablespoons of ginger and garlic paste. The ginger and garlic paste I mentioned is combination of ginger and garlic. I added about 4 green chilies unsliced. So when the oil has started to separate, I added just the coriander leaves, and I have saved some coriander and mint later on to use in our pulao. The 4 tablespoons of yogurt I added, and I had covered until the oil has started to separate. I'm saving up 3 to 4 tablespoons of the masala in a separate bowl. I'll let you know in a while why I did that. So I added the soaked rice to the masala and just mix in well. Don't over stir it, as we may break the rice. So to this we add the broth that we had reduced. So the proportion to the rice over broth is, if you're using 4 cups of rice, so you use only 7 to 6 cups of broth. We'll go a little less of the quantity of the broth, since we had soaked up the rice already in warm water. So make sure to measure your broth and add to the pulao. Otherwise the pulao is going to be sticky and mushy. That's not what we're looking for. And the whole chicken that is already cooked in the broth, it's ready to go into the oven. So I added 2 tablespoons of butter and some chili powder and turmeric. And if you want, you may add a little more garam masala powder to it if you want, but I absolutely don't think you need any. I roasted in the oven for about 425 degrees Fahrenheit. So I had cooked the pulao on a medium-high flame, and once the water had reduced completely, I put the lid on and put it in the oven in the same temperature, around 400 degrees, and helped the steam build its flavor in the oven. So what happens is, when you put the rice into the oven, when it is the heat in the oven from all directions helps to make the biryani nice, or the pulao nice and fluffy. That could be a nice tip if you want to follow, and let me know how your pulao turns out with this tip. And at this point I add the mint and the coriander. I didn't add the mint when I was making the pulao. So serve the pulao with the mint on top. So once I bake the chicken in the oven until nice and golden brown, and all the spices that we added on top is going to give the color and the flavor to our chicken. And here our pulao is ready to serve on the base of rice. First serve the rice on the platter and keep the entire chicken on top. It's definitely a must-try recipe. And if you have any comments or you have any queries, do share in the comment section below. Make sure to add the salt and the spices according to your taste. And thanks for watching, Usika. Bye-bye. You have a good day.